Hello everybody, in this video I'm talking about the Druid in Diablo 4. Now, if you are among those who are not so sure whether this should be maybe your first pick, or if you don't intend to play all classes, if you're gonna play it at all, well, you're not alone. I'm at the same boat, I'm not sure. So if you want to kind of discuss that and see whether maybe it will be a good choice or not, well, stick around, we're gonna talk about that exactly in this video. Now, this is the official description of the Druid. This is posted on the official Twitter of the Diablo account. So as you can see, the Druid is a savage shapeshifter, fluidly transforming between the forms of a towering bear or a vicious werewolf. To fight alongside the creatures of the wild, he also commands the power of earth, wind, and storm, unleashes nature's wrath to devastating effect. Now, I have to be honest with you, it has been since Guild Wars 2 that this is the last time that I actually was excited, having a class that with, elements like fire, ice, lightning, wind, earth, water. Usually I prefer something that goes more of the fantasy type, like holy and dark, all this, something that is more, less of the natural and more close to the unnatural. And this is actually why it's important to take a look at the class archetype in order to see, how exotic it becomes. And when it comes to Druid, it's actually quite interesting. And especially when it comes to his shape-shifting, becoming a werebear or a werewolf. So I think it's a nice mix. It would be a nice mix for those who like melee combat, also want something with casting to kind of mix and match, and also enjoying companions. So these alongside shapeshifting and elemental damage, and if you enjoy all of the things together, the Druid might be the perfect class for you. And by the way, the companions are both passive and active variations. For example, with the Ravens will fly above the Druid and attack enemies when it comes to passive. And the active, the targeted area that you activated in that location will be swarmed with Ravens dealing damage and applying vulnerability. So I think Blizzard did well, kind of tried to encompass and give more depth to the nature of the Druid, although something actually bothered me a bit. And the thing is that I personally wanted something that feels more permanent and more controllable. And again, this is something they're going to shift in and out. That's actually why they made it kind of seamless, so you can, you can turn into a bear, then get out of it, turn into a werewolf, and it's going to be kind of seamless during your gameplay. However, it feels a bit weird, at least looking at it, because again, I haven't played it, but based on what I've seen so far, it just looks a bit odd. Now, I googled it a bit, maybe it was just me, but there are several posts on Reddit and other Diablo-related forums about people not really liking this automatic, as they describe it, some of them, shifting in this class. Now, one player who actually played the demo and tried the Druid mentioned that, he really likes the ability to change to different form, and that it's dynamic, but he wanted to actually stay in a certain form for a longer period of time rather than shifting back. Now, I can definitely understand that, because again, when I'm playing, for example, as a Druid and I want to change a certain form, I want to be able to stay like that strategically and consciously. I want to make the decision strategically in a certain situation and trying to have some buffs and other type of synergy for that particular form that I'm at. It's basically feeling that I want control and this is taken away from me. But based on what I read, not completely. So for example, if you look at the Grizzly Rage ultimate, shapeshift into a werebear for 5 seconds, you're giving you werebear skills, so basically your skills are replaced, normal skills are replaced with those new ones. Spirit is now generated 28% faster, and you are unstoppable while Grizzly Rage is active, which means you are immune to CC. However, I read that you can stay in that form, but you won't actually enjoy those benefits beyond the normal ones. Nonetheless, it seems like when it comes to, again, gameplay style, the idea is that during combat, you're gonna shift and change between those different forms to enjoy different benefits from each one during combat. So again, it's dynamic because it needs to adapt to a dynamic combat. So when I thought about it more, I told myself, well, it's not that bad when thinking about it. You might want to enjoy different benefits in certain situations where you want to change, because again, this is something pretty big for the Druid, and being able to control it and change it on the fly allows you to adapt to different situations. Now, I thought about it even a second time, and actually I thought that it would be more fun like that. And I also look at the shape-shifting talent tree, where you have really nice range of things that are, well, very useful. For example, damage reduction, increased damage, increased movement speed, increase, for example, critical strike, or apply vulnerability, or increase poison duration, depends on the companion you're using. You have knockdown, again, critical strike increase against poison enemies, which can actually be good if you are, by the way, fighting alongside teammates that also apply these type of elements. So you can already have this in effect and increase damage even if you don't do it yourself. Increase damage to crowd control enemies, critical strike increase after using shapeshifting skill. So when you shapeshifting, you have a kind of a bonus, of course, will take into effect. So there's one that after shapeshifting, your next skill deals increased damage. And when Hurricane, for example, and Cataclysm active, still shapeshifting skill deals an additional damage. So being able to, well, time it correctly, by the way, the same goes to other classes. It's actually what makes the build more interesting, because again, you need to pay attention in order to maximize your efficiency in combat, rather than that something that being more, well, you know, in a certain pace and more predictable. Aside from that, this class also have very good AoE skills. For example, especially those worth skills that are not spearing dependent but cooldown dependent, like the Hurricane and the Boulder. Hurricane can deal damage to nearby enemies, physical damage. It has 15 seconds cooldown. It's storm type of magic. The Boulder, it's a longer 20-second cooldown that you unearth a large whirling boulder that knocks back enemies and crush enemies, and also has the chance, 50% chance to deal crushing blow. This is an earth magic. So both having abilities for very good AoE abilities, your ability to benefit from shape-shifting and try to time it correctly to make the best out of it, depends on the situation. Now let's not forget that the skins actually looks pretty cool, and we might get another shape-shifting creature, of course, in future update, which may be something amazing as well. And aside from all that, I think that the transition between, when you become human to a beast is actually looks really cool, in my opinion. They made it well. So all of that, thinking of everything, taking everything into consideration, all the skills, animations, how it looks, and I think that it actually looks pretty solid. And when I first thought that, the shape-shifting looks kind of odd, the more I spend time thinking about it, and of course I need to play it in order to make my final decision, which I really want to do, because again, I think with the Druid, it's really, you need to really play with it to really get the feeling of this, compared to maybe other classes that is more predictable to understand how they're going to feel like, especially if you played them before in previous Diablo games. I think it's actually, my view of it is actually become more and more positive. So alongside also other really cool defensive capabilities, overall I think it is very convincing and really exciting class to play. Tell me what you think. Overall, the more I read about it, the more I learn about it, the more excited I am. What if, for your opinion, what do you think about the Druid? Do you think it's kind of a jack of all trades, or something that you might pass, or a must play, maybe first pick? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.